All right, welcome in. Check It's Fantasy Fact Check, week number 10. Can you believe it's week number 10, Ben?
I truly can. I am your host, Ben Checkitz.
My name is Spence Checkitz. Thanks for joining us. The Check It's Fantasy Fact Check brought to you by benzodiazepines.
Benzodiazepines, making Sun Valley a pleasure for everybody since 1964.
You can't sleep? Take 2 more and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Or not. Interesting developments this week. We had a 4-way tie in the fantasy league. It's never happened before that I know of.
This is the first time we have a clear number 1 in Clyde Checkitz. However, Clyde lost his first game.
Taking his first loss.
And now he's 8-1, but a clear favorite still to win the championship.
And we have a crystallizing picture of the playoff scenario that Connor Checkitz will present a little bit later in the show.
Indeed, playoff picture coming up. Let's move into the more specific breakdown brought to you by Sportsish.
Sportsish. We love sports and we don't care who knows.
Go to sportsish.com, subscribe, rate, review.
Like, subscribe.
Yep.
Hit that smash button, like, smash the like.
Sportsish, where women can do hard things.
Sportsish. In a perfect world, we would have voted for Kamala.
It's Kamala, but
whatever. Everybody's great.
Sportsish, where WNBA is cool.
Is it though? That's for the fan to decide.
That's for the fan to decide. Yay!
All right, time to delve into details about the weekly rundown brought to you by Desperados, the Mexican restaurant in Sun Valley.
Have you had diarrhea this week? It's not too late.
Make sure you're wearing Depends after you eat your burrito, Grandpa. All right, Clyde versus Connor. This was a big upset as the Manhattan Bachelors handed Clyde his first loss of the season.
In ugly fashion. Connor has not been able to score more than 80 points most of the weeks of this fantasy season, but he beats the best team in the league without his number 1 receiver.
Clyde has been undefeated all year long, much like Aunt Shelley and her orange rolls.
No question.
Undefeated.
No question. It's the only reason to go there.
All right, moving on. Ashton is on fire. Despite the fact that he has to work 90 hours a week and take care of 2 kids, he's found a way to win 4 straight games.
Absolutely crushed the Little Giants by a margin of 23 points. Disappointing for Will, but a huge success for Ashton. Congrats to our comrade from the north.
Moving over to a game of complete luck, I was able to escape by Gabe, I think by only 4 points. And I believe Gabe had 2 players going into Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football brought to you by Rosie's, downtown New Canaan.
Ah, Rosie's.
Yeah.
It's not Mexican food.
No. Do you have an extra $70 for a side of guac? Head down to Rosie's, downtown New Canaan.
Moving on to our next game, we had the Corner Canyon Chargers taking on the Roman Red Raiders. I will excuse myself from commenting on this game, but any insights gained there?
Well, I'll tell you this. I feel like Teddy's had the worst luck all year long. After the draft, I thought Teddy had the number 1 team in the entire league. I think Teddy's in the top 5 scoring points. A good performance by Nate. Nate's season brought to you by Creatine.
Creatine, it's actually legit.
Take it in chewables or in powder form.
Yeah, you could even snort it if you wanted to.
Corner Canyon Chargers, their season brought to you by Draper, where couples' imaginations tend to run wild.
That's true. Welcome to the treehouse, we call it.
So the Corner Canyon Chargers get it done by a score of 119 to 109. A good week from Nate.
Huge performances from Drake London and Matthew Stafford. The return of Lamar Jackson for Nate, very promising.
Indeed.
Huge performance, but just left some points on the board there.
Oh, you know what? I feel horrible for Charlie because all year long he has been close. He was not close this week, much like white kids in New Canyon trying to play inner city kids in basketball.
Yes, this game presented by Connie's Lo Mein.
Indeed, where we all pretended we liked it for way too long. The Carmel Carnival's 99 and the Miracles 65. And as someone who tried to play in inner cities against other basketball teams from New Canaan High School, I can relate to losing by 34.
Yes, T. Higgins looking like the Stanford Knights, just dunking
Yes,
all
indeed.
over.
New Canaan basketball, where you can hang with Darien,
Ridgefield, Wilton,
Greenwich, and that's all.
Yeah.
All right, last game. The London marginally good players might need to change their name because they're on a little bit of a streak and they might even qualify for the playoffs. 134 to 97 over the Disney World Ducks. So Thomas...
And a bit of a landslide.
It's kind of a butt whooping. So Andrew gets the win and has put himself back in the playoff picture after a slow start. Thomas now falls into a tie for second place with the Federal Heights Dukes, myself, Ashton, right? The Ashton Team Shimbashi. Well, that's 3-way
And I would
tie for
talk
second.
about Thomas as number 1 receiver, but that's some awful careful tiptoeing that I don't want to do on an internet show.
Yes, indeed. It's been an interesting week of expression, and we believe in the First Amendment on Fantasy Facts Check. So whatever political views you have, we are here for you.
Yes. For the first time in this season, we have a really clear playoff picture. We're going to kick it to Connor, whose segment is sponsored by the new sleeveless garments by Deseret Industries.
It's rare this late into the season to have 9 teams still not know where they're going to be seated. With only 3 teams that have really locked down their seeding, let's look at some playoff projections. The race for that 2 seed and first round bye is going to be extraordinary. The Disney World Ducks, Federal Heights Dukes, and Team Shimbashi all have similar schedules. The Ducks play the Bachelors, Giants, Chargers, and Goofs. The average points for all those components combined is 902. The Dukes play the Carnivals, Marginally Good Players, Bachelors, and Giants. Their average points combined is 903.9, the hardest out of the 3. Team Shimbashi play the Chargers, Goofs, Carnivals, and Marginally Good Players. Their average points combined is 898.2, the easiest of the 3. But that margin of those 3 teams' slate is only about 5 points between the 3. That being said, the Disney World Ducks hold the tiebreaker by a mile. They've scored 1,032.8 points, giving them a 61-point lead over the other 2. This means if the Ducks can go 3-1, they're overwhelmingly the favorite to get that number 2 seed. But Team Shimbashi can easily sweep their remaining schedule, giving them a solid chance of stealing that first round bye. The Ducks hold firm at a 62% chance of retaining that number 2 seed, with Team Shimbashi on their back at 26%. The Federal Heights Dukes don't have the tiebreaker over the Ducks, and they have the hardest remaining schedule, leaving them with a 12% chance of getting that number 2 seed. But most likely, all 3 of those teams get in, and with Hawaii Henry's sitting in that number 1 spot, that really only leaves 2 spots for the remaining teams in playoff contention. Right now, those 2 spots are held by 2 teams at 5 and 4. The Manhattan Bachelors in the 5 seed and the Carmel Carnivals in the 6 seed. Chasing them are the Corner Canyon Chargers, London Marginally Good Players, Little Giants, and the Goofs, all sitting at 4 and 5. At 1 game back, let's see who's most likely to sneak in and who's likely to fall out. The Manhattan Bachelors and Carmel Carnivals might have the same record, but one is much more likely to stay in that playoff race, with one more likely to fall out. The Bachelors face the Disney World Ducks and Federal Heights Dukes, both tough opponents, but they also face the Miracles and Roman Red Raiders, which are 2 layup games. They're most likely to finish 2-2 in the next 4 weeks, leaving them with a 7-6 record. That should be good enough to get them the 5 seed. The Carmel Carnivals, however, face the Federal Heights Dukes, Team Shimbashi, and Juggernaut Hawaii Henry's. They face the Roman Red Raiders, but a 1-3 record leaves them at 6-7. That is not a likely playoff berth, especially considering their tiebreakers. Carmel Carnivals have only allowed 846.32 points this year. That's the best in the entire league, but that really only means that teams are underperforming against the Carnivals. They've only scored 907 points. That means the Corner Canyon Chargers have actually scored more points than them, with the London Marginally Good Players right on their tail. So the tiebreakers are not favorable for this team. So if they have the same record as any teams that are currently below them, they could find themselves out of the playoffs. Their scoring ceiling has shown to be limited. They only have 1 game above 115. So let's look at those teams looking up in the standings. The Goofs face off against the Roman Red Raiders this week. Should be a big win. But then they take on Team Shimbashi, the Hawaii Henrys, and the Disney World Ducks. The Goofs most likely finish 1-3 with a 5-8 record. Not good enough for the playoffs. The Little Giants face the Miracles, but they also face the Disney World Ducks, Federal Heights Dukes, and the Hawaii Henrys. If they can get an upset and get to 2-2, that might be good enough to sneak in. They certainly have a higher chance than the Goofs. The next 3 weeks for the Corner Canyon Chargers are gonna be tough. They face Team Shimbashi, Hawaii Henrys, and Disney World Ducks. If they can steal one of those games, they have the Miracles to close out the season. This, mixed with their tiebreakers, means they could sneak into the playoffs. This leaves the London Marginally Good Players with the best chance of sneaking into the playoffs. Their tough games are against 3 seed Federal Heights Dukes and 4 seed Team Shimbashi, meaning unlike all the teams behind them and the team above them, they don't play one of the top 2 teams. They also play the bottom 2 teams in the Miracles and Roman Red Raiders. They most likely finish at 2-2, but if they steal one, they could finish at 3-1, which should be good enough to get them in the tournament. So these are the main takeaways. All of the teams in contention right now have pretty similar remaining schedules. Team Shimbashi could steal that number 2 seed, and the London Marginally Good players or the Corner Canyon Chargers could very easily sneak into the tournament. And it's very possible that multiple teams slip up, leaving room for the Goofs or the Little Giants to sneak into the playoffs. This next week's slate is impeccable for these projections. The Manhattan Bachelors play the Disney World Ducks, and the Carmel Carnivals play the Federal Heights Dukes. Both of them most likely lose, which leaves a lot of teams at 500. Let's see what happens.
All right, wrapping it up, final segment brought to you by Bitcoin, where you can be a felon and a Haitian rapper. It's wild down the stretch where we have a clear number 1 and then a battle for number 2. Do you believe Teddy still has a legitimate shot of making it into the postseason?
I gotta be honest, I think Teddy has been unlucky this season. He has a hard schedule ahead of him, but we're getting some players back. I think we could make the playoffs.
I'm gonna take Thomas as my favorite to make the number 2 spot.
I think that's a good bet.
I think Ashton at 3, and I think I'm gonna fall to 4.
Another team to keep your eye on is the London Marginally Good players. Extremely easy schedule going into the last few weeks of the season, and their team is healthier than ever. They could make a run.
Little known fact, London, home of tea.
Yes, sponsored by tea, which is just dirty brown water.
Keep the bag in the cup. Don't put the tea bag outside of the cup. Just
No.
keep it where it belongs.
Although I have heard you could rest it on your eyes for inflammation.
Keep it in the cup.
Tea, it's what's for dinner. All right, looking ahead to next week. The Look Ahead brought to you by Dan Wolfgram, where Ichabod Crane comes to today's age. Let's start with Thomas versus Connor. Thomas and Spencer in an epic fight for the number 2 seed. Gonna be a great game.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I'm in trouble this week. I think I have 4 starters out with a bye or injuries. I'm starting Zach Charbonnet, and Bo Nix gave me 5 points already. So I'm in trouble.
Connor and Charles fighting with everything they have to stay in the playoffs. All right, then we've got Andrew versus Charlie and Gabe versus Nate. Andrew and Gabe desperately need this win to get to 500.
Gabe, back-to-back champ. I feel like it's somebody else's turn to win the league. A 3-peat Pat Riley copyright is tough to achieve, and to give Andrew credit after being dead in the water for fighting back. Charlie, we love you. You'll bounce back next year.
Then we have Clyde versus Will and Ashton versus Teddy. Will and Teddy with an uphill battle to try and get to 500. And Clyde and Ashton look to put these teams in the sleeper position and move securely into a playoff spot.
I like Clyde in this matchup. We referenced Teddy's bad luck. Will, I think, lost both of his receivers, right? Tyreek Hill and then Malik Neighbors.
Ashton's got Dak on a bye, and I think one of his running backs on a bye, another one of his wide receivers on a bye. It's a very winnable game for Teddy.
Rasheed Rice back in the mix for Ashton has changed everything.
Thank you for joining us this week for Check It's Fantasy Fact Check.
Check It's Fantasy Fact Check, brought to you by Genealogy.
Genealogy. It's how you know we're related.
Thanks for joining us.